Hello again, I greet you. We are television active, if you ask me. And on Enterprise TV, it's time for Homo Politicus. Okay, then, let's go there. Muslim lawyers hire 5 senior advocates against minister over marriage of 100 orphans. A needless outcry. Now, a collective wedding or a mass wedding is just what it simply is. A marriage ceremony of a small or large number of poor couples joined at the same time. It becomes tedious and tiresome when the process attracts a needless outcry. Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development Uju Kennedy Ohaneye meant well when she elected to be involved in the proposed mass wedding of about 100 orphans in Niger State last weekend. The affected brides, so orphaned as a result of insurgent activities that killed their parents, needed a lot of help. Today, the selfless gesture has been made a heavy weather of. The Muslim Lawyers Association of Nigeria, MULAN, has not only faulted the position of the minister, it has hired 5 senior advocates plus 27 other members to meet the minister at any court of competent jurisdiction regarding her litigation. Recall that the Speaker of the Niger State Assembly, Right Honorable Abdul Malik Sarkin Daji, had provoked the litigation after the federal minister petitioned the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, over the move. Do we need this riotous distraction at this time? Can we afford this one? So let's have a conversation, please. And my conversationalist is no other than the journalist, political commentator, Emeka Madunagwe. Emeka.
Yeah, it's
so good
it's
to
so
see
good
you
to
again.
be here.
Yeah.
So glad to be here.
All right. Well, ours is to interrogate anything
issues
thrown up by the Nigerian Federation.
Absolutely.
This one.
Yeah, we need a distraction at all times.
We need this distraction.
We need this distraction. Yes.
Okay.
Things are quite expensive right now. Petrol is expensive.
This distraction.
Gari is expensive. Rice is expensive. So sometimes
this
you need
distraction is not expensive.
No, it's not expensive. It's just it's laughable. You know why I say we need it? You know, sometimes we need some comical interventions, you know, to take us away. Yes, comical relief to take us away from the harsh realities of living in Nigeria. You know, somebody said,
what's comical about this act? This gesture by Madam Minister?
First of all, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly coming out to say that he's involved in organizing a mass wedding of 100 so-called orphans, you know, whose parents are believed to have been killed, you know, by bandits. And then the best empowerment he can give them is to marry them off. I think the comical thing there is the fact that of all things that the Speaker found worthy, you know, for these girls to be given is an early marriage. That is demeaning. That is dehumanizing. To think that, you see, for a woman, you know, and it's an ongoing debate, to think that for a woman, you know, that marriage is what actually ensures that a woman is complete, to my mind, is preposterous. Because a woman is an individual with a mind of her own, with a soul of her own, with ideas of her own, with an outlook of her own. So when you now have to hitch her like a carriage to a horse, you know, you think you must hitch a woman to a man, you know, like a carriage to a horse, before she can actualize her aspirations. I think that is outdated thinking. You know, it doesn't hold water. If it did at any time, then today it doesn't hold water, because women have shown that they can hold their own anytime, anywhere. Now, marriage is good, but in this circumstance, these girls are not, getting them married is not the most helpful kind of empowerment they need. They actually need to be sent to school to learn skills or to get, get secondary school
Emeka,
education.
but this trend has been a long time coming.
It doesn't make it right. You see, there's one problem we have in Nigeria, and we must speak to it. The idea that we must use religion to couch, let me give you an example. A pastor, somebody wanted to forward 100,000 naira to the pastor.
Yeah, it became
and now
1
mistakenly
million.
sent 1 million and called the pastor to say, sorry, I made an overpayment of 900,000. Pastor said, forget about it, belongs to God. You see, I think we are taking religion to the point where, we need to begin to ask ourselves questions.
Emeka, do you ask yourself sometimes, of all our major fault lines, religion is the most corrosive?
The most corrosive, the most explosive, the most dangerous.
But do you know it's deliberate?
Yes, that's why I said it's comical. It's a comical distraction. Because what is the issue in all of this? You want to marry some girls off. You want to marry
marriageable age.
Well,
or
so
ages.
they say. But he did not provide evidence. That's why I find this boast by Mulan very laughable. I think they should just be ignored. Because if some people call themselves lawyers, they don't just call themselves lawyers, they are lawyers. They qualified as lawyers. Now saying that they are ready, that they have hired 5 senior lawyers.
Senior advocates.
Yeah, of course. The silk of the legal profession. You have hired 5. To come and prove what? Do you know how embarrassing it will be when the court says you should provide those girls, those 100 girls, and the court orders a DNA test, orders a test on those girls to determine their ages, and they are found to be underage? Do you know the embarrassment and all of that?
I said, even if in passing, that this has been a long time coming. We have been talking at this for years and years now, Emeka.
Yes.
So it appears to have become a way of life in this part of the world.
It is sad. It also shows, unfortunately,
Emeka, and also no country survives a religious skirmish or war, if you like.
Yeah, of course. You see in Nigeria,
many.
in Nigeria, we throw all kinds of things into the fire without caring about the consequences. And we keep suffering the consequences.
And you hope the fire will consume them.
No, they even hope that the fire will consume others. They set up the conflagration and hope that it will burn others. It's just like drinking poison and hoping that it will kill somebody else. You see, yes, we've been hearing about mass marriages and all of that. But what actually drew public attention and public outcry and ignited the public outcry was the fact that these girls are orphans. That is not the best kind of empowerment. I don't care who,
especially at
I don't care which emir or whatever religious leader or whoever. That to me is a display of poor intellectual understanding of societal issues, poor judgment. I don't know what word to use, but it's shameful. It is shameful because these girls, you have now objectified them to the point that you feel they're so helpless, that they are so bereft of any form of, intellect or, thinking to be able to build themselves up without being forced into marriage.
If you get told or remind yourself that so many states, specifically in the north, have yet to ratify the Child Rights Act, doesn't it send a message to you?
Yeah, it does. It does, of course. It only shows how much their politicians appreciate their citizens, how they value their citizens. Even some of the states that have done so, that have ratified Child Rights Act, are they implementing it? You remember, if you recall, a former governor of Enugu State who said at the time, why are people talking of ratifying Child Rights Act? What's the big deal? If a child commits a crime, are you saying? And that governor was a lawyer. I was so horrified when I read those comments. I said, do these people think that everything begins and ends with their tenure in office? Don't they know that there will be years that years after, decades after they've left office,
Mm.
that certain actions they take
Would
will
come back to
will
haunt.
come back to haunt them.
Yeah.
And so, like the example people often give, when Obasanjo, when he was in power, and they were to deal with those who organized the coup that killed Murtala Mohammed, and there was a certain caveat that, in fact, that made it look like, if you heard about a coup, you were as culpable as those who participated in it. Now, fast forward to many years to the future. Abacha became head of state. 1995, Obasanjo was accused of having had foreknowledge of a coup, even though it was called a phantom coup. But now you are being made to drink of your own poison chalice. I think our leaders should have a sense of history and a sense of posterity. It is very important so that they don't find themselves getting caught in the web they have spun for the people.
May we try a little bit of history here? Do you recall in the Buhari days in power, the idea of not sending pilgrims to Mecca? And,
yes.
Came up.
And Idiagbo sent his 14-year-old son, his deputy, sent his 14-year-old son.
Yeah, that's it.
That was hypocrisy. Because I will now tie that to my next comment that, will these fellows marry off their children, their daughters, like that? Will they want their daughters married off like that? So you see that it is a deliberate weaponization of ignorance, of poverty, of neglect, of deprivation, just to make the people remain poor so that they can ride roughshod over them. And it has to be resisted. I really praise the minister. I praise the Minister of Women Affairs, Uju Kennedy Onaye, who rose to the occasion gallantly to challenge this travesty, to challenge this oddity in the 21st century.
Yeah.
I think...
don't you foresee... Now, today, it is the Muslim Lawyers Association of Nigeria stealing the headlines. Don't you see a group like the Christian...
Lawyers Association.
Yeah. Don't see them responding.
If there's a group like that. But I think the minister has dealt with the issues. At least she had a meeting with the speaker, and she had been in touch with the Etunupe and the Emir of Kontagora, who had said, and the speaker had come out to say that the wedding scheduled for May 24 had been called off. So I think those...
Why is he calling it off?
No, of course, given the public outcry and the embarrassing... Conscience? Well, maybe. Well, let me hope it's good conscience. But I think those fellows, those Mulan, are just meddlesome interlopers. They're just looking for publicity. And these days things are so hard. So, maybe some people just looking for, to be engaged, because maybe they've not got some good briefs for some time. So they're just looking for work.
But aren't you scandalized when you hear defenders telling you that Islamic faith is one of peace?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's a religion of peace. And
I'm not tolerant.
I'm not a Muslim, but I want to believe that, in law, it says, res ipsa loquitur, the facts speak for themselves. That, okay, if it says a religion of peace and tolerance, then, of course, it ought to reflect in the way the members conduct themselves. Just like Christians or adherents of any religion should, embody and demonstrate the virtues of that religion. Yeah. So definitely, it means that if you are saying that you are an adherent of a religion of peace and tolerance, then in your conduct, in your speech, in your interaction with people, you should be mindful of stepping on the rights of others. You should do all you can to make sure that you don't engage in conduct that could jeopardize the well-being of fellow citizens.
Is it out of place now to ask you to look at that statement of yours a second time, that we can afford this riotous distraction at this time.
No, I just said it in a sarcastic way. I just said it in a sarcastic way. Don't go to court on that.
I'm not. But we can't afford it.
No,
we can't
you see,
afford that riotous distraction at this
It's
time.
unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And seriously, if you even look at it, it also tells you that for lawyers to be defending such,
The indefensible?
calls for, indefensible calls, gives a lot of cause for concern. Because lawyers whom you expect to be arbiters, to be impartial ministers at the temple of justice, taking a position on an issue of human rights, even saying that the minister is dabbling into the private affairs. You will have to prove that those girls gave their consent. You have to prove that those girls are above 18 and that they willingly gave consent. Because even if somebody is within the age of consent, you will also have to prove that that person voluntarily
all right.
gave consent.
Emeka, I hear we must begin to wind up now. But as we take this thing home, let's look at a provision in the 1999 Constitution as amended, however contestable. That there shall be no state religion.
Yes, there shall be no state. Well,
and so flirting with religion is not healthy for us.
Nigerian politicians are a strange breed of people. They can take advantage of anything.
They claw at anything.
They claw at anything. They can grasp onto any kind of straw, even if it doesn't have any weight.
Makes them Machiavellian.
Yes, of course. They don't care. They don't care the level of damage they do to society when they push certain positions. That's why you'll see that the president would approve 1 billion naira for the construction of hostels in 12 federal universities, and then 90 billion for pilgrimage. So that tells you where their priorities lie. Maybe looking at 2027, hoping that, he will use that to show the North that, yes, I've been pursuing your interests. Rankadede, yes, I'm with you. Whereas, that provision is as clear as daylight. But successive Nigerian administrations have observed it in the breach. It has been said again and again that pilgrimage should be the concern of those who are interested.
Yeah, because I don't remember. I don't know if you have remembered the last pilgrim America sent to Israel or to Saudi Arabia.
Pilgrims go from different countries. But like somebody was saying that politicians have to engage in pragmatic governance. That's what somebody was trying to. That, as a politician.
Defending the old order.
Yes, that as a politician. Yeah, that politicians know it is wrong to put state money into pilgrimage. But that they look at it that you will need to go back to these people for votes in the next election. So what do you need to do? You pander to their wishes. No matter how unlawful it is. And which is why we keep getting our priorities wrong. And I wonder why the IMF and the World Bank that are always quick to speak up when it has to do with electricity subsidy or fuel subsidy, they have been silent on this. Is this the kind of subsidy they approve of? I want to ask them. Do they approve of religious subsidy? They're even saying that subsidy on education should be removed. Are you now approving of religious subsidy? Because they've been silent. We must reorder our priorities.
Don't you think time is running out?
Well, democracy continues. Nigeria remains a country, one nation. Although, with all the fissures and cracks here and there, but we hope we'll get to a point where religion will just be allowed, to remain in the private, confines of people's minds. Not
and not made a tool.
Yes, the state should not get involved in religion, because whose religion, for instance, will you promote? Whose religion will you promote, for instance? So these are things that, you see, you even encourage people, to engage in licentious conduct. For instance, look at the imam that was threatening that people will kill the first lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. What for? What for?
Even the voicing of that.
No, he knew.
Statement.
You see, this was deliberate. If the government had come after him, they would have turned it to mean that the government was persecuting Muslims. Some of these mischievous fellows, some fellows who engage in mischief, they do so deliberately.
Except that the first lady is not a Muslim, she is a Christian.
Of course, some of them try to make heavy weather of it.
Okay.
Some even said the president will need to marry another wife. Need to get another wife, a Muslim, and blah.
All right.
You see, we must get serious in this country.
All right, Emeka, I hear we must apply the brakes here, but I think it's one big unpalatable chunk of meat to chew at a time like this.
Yes. Things are so difficult, things are so hard, and this is what interests me. You may even find out that Niger State may not have even paid his own counterpart funding of the Universal Basic Education Fund.
All right. So we must pack it all in, Emeka, not before thanking you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Emeka Madunago, many thanks. And so on behalf of the Backroom Boys, this is yours very sincerely, Citizen Jones Hussein, saying bye-bye now until the next time. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.